What's going on, man? This 30 folks. When I was first asked to pod about this Nick Cannon situation, I had a bunch of quips. I was trying to figure out what to name it. I thought about Nick Cannon wilding out, you know, when pro blackity black goes wrong. A lot of things came in mind, but basically it comes down to simply know your audience, right? Just know your audience. Okay, let's do a quick recap. I'm sure you guys already know what happened. Um, Nick Cannon did his own podcast, and on his podcast, he said things that were deemed as anti-Semitic. The truth of the matter is, nothing he said was necessarily anti anything, but the truth isn't palatable to liberals, right? You ever told your girl the truth? Never works out. Um, so he got caught in a situation that's basically like your fat wife asking if she looks fat in this dress, and he said yes. That's basically what it comes down to. It's really a non-factor. But these are some of the things he said. He said that white people are terrorists. They're the most violent people on earth. That's true, though. That's true. You can look at the history of the Dutch um the Dutch shipping company. I think I said the name wrong, but when the Dutch were out here trying to get spices and took over Madagascar with two battle battalion ships, um, you can look at the reason that China built the wall. You can look at the Roman Empire, the France and England's constant battles and bickering. They're pretty violent. Men are violent in general. I mean, that doesn't mean that there weren't tribal wars in Africa or anything else. But historically speaking, ever since they poisoned the wells and burned the crops of the blacks or Moors, if you like to call them that, in Spain to get them out of England, out of Europe, they've had a swath of of violent acts. The what do you call it? I should really know the name of this. I'm tired though. I'm sorry, but when they were fighting the Muslims for Mecca, um, the Christian, I don't want to call it revolution. That's not it though. It'll come to me later, man. I'm tired. Um, but with that being said, he said they were violent. They're terrorists. Okay, cool. I see where he gets that from. He also said that Jews weren't even the original Jews. That blacks are the Hebrews and blah blah blah. Now let's be honest. They don't even call themselves Jews. They call themselves Jewish. Ish means as or like. You know what I'm saying? So they are like Jews. They are as of the Jews. That doesn't make them Jew. It's kind of like when white people decide to be Native Americans so they can get land in Oklahoma, so they became $5 Indians. Same thing. They changed their race at will. Look at your job applications. You have whole Mexicans. They'd be like, "Are you Mexican white or Mexican non-white?" So even Mexicans get to change their ethnicity. It's just yeah, it's what they do. Um, only one group subscribes to a crayon. Everybody else subscribes to a nationality or a religious group. So it is what it is, but it doesn't make sense to people who subscribe to crayons how other people just switch nationalities to get national support. Um, here's where Nick Cannon went wrong, and this is why I decided to make this Nick Cannon know your audience. This is where Nick went wrong. Nick Cannon spoke badly about the people who signed his checks. That's it. That's all. Point blank. Period. It's for people who know me. When we do our projects, we sell penny stocks. We we set up crowdfunding. We try to sell subscription services to earn our keep. And I don't, because I don't believe in loans, right? I don't believe in some Jew boys giving me money at 7.9% APR and they just loan me $250,000. Now I'm into it with you for $250,000. I don't care what you give it to me for, whether it's a business loan or whether it's a house loan. You gave me $250,000 and all I had was a couple of dollars, and you loan shark me out at 7% or whatever case may be. So now you my new daddy, right? You telling me what to do, where I can go, when I can move. You my daddy. Same thing with grant money. That's why I want to apply for grant money. You know what I'm saying? I asked you for this money to do such and such, and you give me you say, yo, you can have the money, but here's a list of parameters on how you can spend the money that I'm giving you. Okay, cool. I got a daddy, don't need a second daddy. So first one kind of get on my nerves. Don't need a second one. So I'm cool on y'all money if it comes with uh the ability to cut off my well, right? That's all Nick Cannon's going through right now. Right now, Nick Cannon was getting sunned, and Daddy cut off the money. You know what I'm saying? The CBS cut off the money, and CBS's thing is, if the sponsors cut them off, it'll cut CBS's revenue, which they still gonna cut their own revenue just because, right? Because they don't have the content. But that's their thing. CBS says, yo, I can't risk losing our sponsors, so we'll get rid of you. We'll replace you and your content. That doesn't happen if Nick Cannon finds his own sponsors, right? When you find your own sponsors, then your sponsors kind of ride with your ideology. They ride with your mission statement, with what you're about, and they'll get through this. Because it's not the first time Nick did this. People gonna forget about this shit tomorrow. If CBS wouldn't have fired Nick Cannon, everybody would have forgotten in 2 days. The news was firing Nick Cannon. The news wasn't even Nick Cannon's podcast that got him fired. Nobody heard the podcast until CBS got mad about the podcast. Anyway, Nick will be all right. What y'all need to come out here with the understanding of is, know who you want to get in bed with. Don't get in bed with 42 million crayons. Don't get in bed with Jews who tell you that you have to support things you don't believe in, like homosexuality, gender confusion, feminism, female coaches, and all type of goofy stuff that doesn't work for you. For you personally, fuck the empathy for everybody else. You, what would be right for you and people that look like you in the mirror? You don't have to be beholden to those people that tell you to get out of your personal code if they're not paying you to tell you got your personal code. Anyway, Nick will be all right. Nick has a name. He has a couple of dollars. He has decent content. He'll find other sponsors. He may find a whole different platform that'll work for him better. So that's what I want y'all to get out of this. Out this Nick Cannon situation, know your audience. And don't be so blackety black, so pro blackety black, because he's not even part of the Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? So even when he says they aren't the Jews, he's not the Jews. Y'all going off a dictation of a religion that never worked for you. Anyway, with all that being said, love each other as you love yourself. Feed the pack.